I said, set your homecoming now. 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 Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Lionel, class of 2009. And listen, it's homecoming, so you know what we do. Set your homecoming out 2K24, all right? For all the PV Nation out there. And listen, for all of those who always on the yard doing homecoming too, you know, y'all set it out too as well. You know what I'm saying? So we know how y'all be rolling up on campus. So, hey, listen, it's homecoming. All right. It ain't much that can get us down this week. Ain't much that can get us down. But listen, we need to end the week strong. But ain't much that can get us down. You feel me? All right. It's all about setting your homecoming out, set it out, set it out, set it out. Y'all know how we do it on the yard. What's going on, Jess? You know what I'm saying? We here. All right, just for a little midday show, because I already know many of y'all ain't even gonna be available, all right, later on. So I'm just coming quickly to give y'all something real quick. It's real smooth, all right, you know what I'm saying, just to talk a little bit, and we're gonna get it going. Peasy, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Welcome to PVHC2K24, all right, you know what I'm saying? How we do it on the hill over here in Prairie View, Texas, the great and illustrious Prairie View A&M University. So we got a lot to talk about, right? But we're gonna keep it short. We're gonna get in and we're gonna get out. All right. We're gonna get in, we're gonna get out. So y'all roll with me, all right, because we got a couple things we need to talk about. We got some updates we need to make to Title Pie, all right, HBCU top 10 this week. So let's talk about it real quick, real smooth, and then we're gonna talk about the keys to this homecoming game, how we can come out with a victory. I think it's gonna be another tough one. All right, there's gonna be another one that's gonna be close. But hey, listen, if you didn't get a chance to check out the film review that we did on the other day, y'all missed it. Of course, if you're not members, you didn't get a chance to watch that video, but we definitely did a film review. Definitely want to do some things that's specific to the members. We appreciate all the members of the platform for supporting. And so we was able to break down some film, break down some numbers for this game. And if you're able to see that, then you know, hey, listen, this one's gonna be one that we gotta take serious. It's a 1-16, but listen, we can see that right now. Hey man, it's mano y mano, all right. And so I think it's gonna be another game similar to that Grambling game. It's gonna come down to the wire. It's going to depend on what team makes plays at the right time, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. And like Peasy says, it's the get right game. So let's get into it, man. First and foremost, we got to remind y'all, if y'all not following us over on PV versus underscore everybody on Twitter and on Instagram, go ahead and make sure you're following us both on both of those platforms. Also, listen, go ahead and like and subscribe to the video. Go ahead and like and subscribe it. You know what the goal is now. 750 subs. That's what the goal is before the end of the season. So go ahead and run us up, right? Because we know the majority of people that check out the channel still aren't subscribed to the channel. So go ahead, show some love. Go and subscribe to the channel, man. Got a lot of great things we got planned. We got coming up into the future too as well. So make sure y'all locked in with us. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you recognize and know when we go live. With that being said, though, hey, we always say homecoming. You're gonna go set your homecoming out. Most of y'all trying to graduate to the RV status. I ain't there yet. Hey, listen, I ain't at the RV status yet. All right. But once you get there, no matter if you with the RV, no matter if you there with your car, no matter if you hitched a ride, you still need a place to go back to. All right. You need a home to go to. And ain't nobody that can help you like my boy Jeff McKissick. All right. He's a PV alumni, right, with Fairway Independent Mortgage Company, and he'll guide you seamlessly through the home buying process. Many of us are unaware of our credit score and true financial situation, but Jeff will help you to develop a step-by-step plan to improve your financial standing, making your dream of owning a home achievable sooner than you think. He understands your financial situation may not be perfect. That's okay. But the sooner you start the conversation, the sooner you two can solve the problems like, credit issues, right? Student loan debt. So don't let the fear of achieving new heights hold you back from getting the home of your dreams. Perfect for your growing family, for hosting those PV watch parties or coming back from homecoming, right? You know what I'm saying? Get started now, taking the first steps toward your new home and taking the next big step in your life. So don't delay. talk with Jeff today so you can be in your home tomorrow. All right. And he looks forward to speaking with you soon. So again, man, y'all hit up my man Jeff. All right. Because y'all need a place to go to after this homecoming. We already know how y'all be going crazy. All right. You know what I'm saying? In all them activities. But listen, make sure you got a place to go to. All right, a home to go to. Hit up my boy Jeff, right? And listen, you know, me and my boy Jeff can partner because you already know your boy licensed out here. All right. You know what I'm saying? So we can go and double it up, get you in the home that you deserve. Right. So hit your boy Jeff up, hit your boy Lionel up. Hey, listen, we get the job done for you. So with that being said, man, just want to remind y'all that on Sundays, 8 o'clock, we got the recap, Coach Heisch Northern. Hey, listen, we got some exciting Northern Lights coming up for you guys. I know you guys enjoyed the one from last week. We already told y'all and tipped our hat. We're going to be doing Northern Lights on coach firings. All right, some coach firings from all around HBCU land. I know you guys are going to be interested in that one. We're going to hold off on that one till a little bit later on in the football year. But hey, man, each and every week we coming back with some great Northern Lights, some great stories by Coach Heisch Northern. So make sure y'all check us out, man, on the channel with that. Listen, the Northern, if y'all ain't seen Northern Lights, bro, listen, that segment is a dope segment. Just hearing Coach Heisch just talk about just the behind the scenes stories, just things that us as fans sometimes we don't see, right? We don't get those interactions. We don't understand, what's going on behind the scenes. So it's really great, man, and hearing, the stories that he got and that he's sharing with us. And so with that being said, man, I want to get straight into it. Hey, listen, we got HBCU Fantasy Football League going on this year. All right. And so it's getting down to the nitty gritty now on this league. And so your boy kind of slipping a little bit, but I'm still within striking. I still think I'm within striking distance. All right. This week, Doc Holliday, HBCU Overdrive took the championship this week in week 8, 120.45 points. I slipped back only 80 points this week. All right. Listen, I got to shake some things up moving forward because we got to get the job done. I got to make my comeback. All right. Because right now I'm a slip back and now I'm in 3rd place and Doc is on my heel. So we got to shake some things up this week because I got to catch my boy Swag Talk and then I got to get after Zach because he's just like trying to run away with it. But we can't let that happen. All right. So HBCU Fantasy Football, man, it's been really good, really enjoyable. Each week we're being able to pick different players from different schools, and you can't pick more than one player from each college, and you got to pick not only offensive players but defensive players as well, right? And so it's a really dope league, been really enjoyable up to this point. But listen, we in it to win it, though, right? So the boy got to make you come back because I ain't playing no games. But with that being said, man, let's get straight into it, right? I don't want to waste y'all time this week. HBCU top 10. Now, drop in the comments what your top 5 is right now. Who you got in your top 5 right now currently, all right? Who's your top 5? Drop it right now, especially after this big win from Jackson State. Where does FAMU land for you? Many people have FAMU 1 or 2. Where does FAMU land for you in your top 10? Are they still in your top 5? Have they fallen out your top 5? Where's Jackson for you, right? You got them at number 1? What about North Carolina Central? So let's talk about it real quick. You know what I'm saying? And first and foremost, listen, I got Central in the number 1 spot. At the end of the day, what they've been able to do after that Elon game, that was that one outlier for them this year. Outside of that, man, they've been getting the job done. Of course, they had the loss to North Carolina, but they played really well in the first half of that game as well. But man, they've been taking care of business ever since then. And listen, next week, October 31st, South Carolina State, North Carolina Central, that's going to determine everything in the MEAC, right? Those are the 2 top teams right now, and it's in Orangeburg, right? So that's gonna be a crazy game, to see who comes out with that one. But Central has been doing it. They're in the top 25 right now, ranked in FCS, and so they've been definitely moving and chugging along one step at a time and getting the job done. Number 2, I got Jackson State. Said PV. Hey, listen, I wish. All right, you know what I'm saying? Jess says North Carolina Central, JSU, South Carolina State, FAMU, and then Alcorn. All right, cool. Hey, listen, I rock with it, but Jackson State, I got Jackson State number 2. All right, after that big win against Florida A&M, and there was a lot of talk this week about who controlled the game throughout the game and all that stuff. And my reason for picking FAMU was because throughout this year, even though they've been in games, they have been able to close games, right? And so that was my reason to say, you know what, I'm gonna tip my hat toward FAMU because they've been able to close games out, and because I think their games that they played, right, their strength of schedule was a lot stronger than Jackson State's, right? But in this game, Jackson was the team that closed the game out, right? In that last 5 minutes, and was able to get the job done. And listen, I think the game was tight all the way through. Florida and them didn't control the game. I mean, because of some of those mistakes from a special team standpoint, really Jackson should have been up in that game, right? And in that second half, really Jackson really kept things in control, right? And I always stayed within striking distance until they got the job done. So I got Jackson sitting at number 2 right now. Obviously 1 and 2 right now with North Carolina Central. Number 3, listen, Tennessee State. Now they aren't in SWAC or the MEAC yet, apparently, right? Because we've been hearing through the grapevine that them boys about to make the jump, which makes sense because with college football shaking up right now, we're gonna have to have a whole nother show about this topic. But with the shakeup in college football, it makes sense for Tennessee State to slide over to one of the top 2 HBCU conferences, because just from a money standpoint, as a general FCS program, it really ain't no benefit for you. Like, there really is no benefit. So we hearing through the grapevine, we gonna see what happens, how it shakes out. But Tennessee State right now, number 3, they're sitting in second place in that conference, the Big South OVC, with 4 games left, and they stair-stepping the games, right? The 2 games they got next against the teams that's right behind them. Then that last game is against the team that's right in front of them. And so their destiny is in front of them, man. I told you early on that Tennessee Tech was going to take a dive. They have lost their last 2 games. So Tennessee State, man, is sitting really, really pretty. Are they going to be able to continue to play solid defense? And is their offense going to be able to not just move the ball, but score? Because they've been moving the ball the last 2 weeks, but they haven't necessarily put up the points that you would think from the yardage that they've been able to maintain and accumulate. And so that's going to be interesting in the rest of these conference games. Number 4, South Carolina State. Hey, listen, set your home coming out, my guy. Appreciate you for jumping on. Hey, listen, number 4, I got South Carolina State. Nah, I definitely got you, Q. South Carolina State, hey, listen, right now it's them and North Carolina Central in the MEAC. They got great out-of-conference wins right now. Of course, the Citadel is not a great team, but able to beat Tennessee Tech, who Tennessee State lost to. And so South Carolina State has been rolling. Last week against Fort Valley State, not really a game you would think that they would drop, but they've been playing well. And listen, Eric Phoenix has been showing he's that guy. And he got 2 guys on the outside, right? You're talking about, Caden Hyde. You're talking about Justin Brown. Both of these guys have been putting in work from the receiver position. And listen, they got a couple running backs that they can use and mix in, right? And the offensive line has definitely been solid. So if they defensively can continue to just stay the course, they're going to always be in games. And listen, they really got one main game that you look at and say, this is the game, and that's against Central next week, right? Outside of that, Morgan can't score enough. I mean, Howard just looks a shell of themselves, right? Delaware State offensively has popped here and there, but you don't trust them. Norfolk, of course, they've just dropped the ball on many occasions. So you really don't trust anybody else in the MEAC outside of those 2 schools. So South Carolina State really has one target in front of them, and it's the Eagles, and that's it, right? If they handle business against them, hey, man, they got a chance to win the Celebration Bowl. So keeping it moving, number 5, I got Hampton. Now, Hampton has been playing better against their CAA opponents. And again, the CAA is a better conference than the SWAC and the MEAC. That's just the reality, right? And so, Hampton has handled business against, the MEAC schools that they played this year. Handled business against Howard, handled business against Norfolk, right? Handled business against North Carolina A&T, of course, right? And so right now I got them sitting at 5. I think they've shown that they have a really solid team. They've also played well against Rhode Island 2 weeks ago. And so, wasn't able to pull out the game in overtime, but they play solid football. So I got them sitting at number 5. Number 6, Florida A&M. All right. You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, it's a short edition because it is homecoming, because I know boys got stuff to do. Right. You know what I'm saying? But giving you a little something to cut on while you're in your RV. All right. You know what I'm saying? Have to come to you midday. All right. But Florida A&M, I got them sitting at number 6. Listen, Florida A&M, after that loss to Jackson. Now, I didn't drop them to number 6 because of anything specific that, hey, any other team has done. It's just the reality that, hey, man, they lost the main game that you got to win in the East. I mean, it's Jackson and it's FAMU. They lost the game, right? And so they've been a little shaky, right, throughout this whole year, we all would say, but they've been able to pull out games in the end, showing that championship medal. And now they need help. They need assistance, right? And they need assistance twice for 2 teams to beat Jackson. They're holding out, maybe thinking that Alabama State could get the job done because of their defense. But outside of that, who do you look at on Jackson's schedule and say they even have the potential to lose this game, right? And so the reality is it's probably over for FAMU. The sad thing also, they didn't play Alabama A&M early in the season, so now they play them on the first weekend of the FCS playoffs. So they don't even get a chance to go to the FCS playoffs this year. So it's kind of, that's why they were my biggest loser this past Sunday, on the show with Coach Heisch and my boy Kerry. But I got them sitting at number 6. Now, it's going to be interesting this week because number 6 and number 7 play. Southern is number 7 at 3-0 in the SWAC West. No, 4-0 now, I think, in the SWAC West, right? And so, listen, they got the job done against Alcorn. Actually, I think they're 3-0, right? They got the job done against Alcorn. So, listen, right now, they're sitting pretty in the West with only 5 games left on their schedule, all right? Five conference games left. And if they can continue to keep it rolling, hey, man, they're going to get a chance to go back and play for the SWAC championship again. They got Florida A&M coming up. Obviously, that's going to be a tough one going into Bragg to be able to win, and especially Florida A&M coming off a loss. We know that those guys are heated, right, and upset that they lost that game to Jackson and let that slip away. And so they're going to definitely be ready to play against this Southern team. The question is, who's going to from the Florida A&M defensive line, Southern's offensive line and running game, who's going to win that battle? That really is going to determine who wins this game. I think Florida A&M is definitely going to put up some points this game. You're going to see their offense definitely, take a step forward, and I think they're going to score the ball pretty consistently throughout this game. The question is, can Southern keep up with them? And I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with them. So I think Florida A&M is going to win that game. But right now, hey, I got Southern sitting number 7. Number 8, Alabama State, right? Again, they dropped the game early in the year to FAMU. But, hey, they've continued to stay solid. You know what they are now. They're a running team, period, point blank. That's what they're going to do. You know what they're going to do. I know what they're going to do. Everybody know what they're going to do. But they saying, are you going to be able to stop me, right? And so right now, they got Alabama A&M coming up. This is a huge game for the Magic City Classic because if Alabama State wants to continue to have a chance to even be a part of this East race, they got to win this game. And I think this game is going to be a great game, this weekend between them and Alabama A&M, because if they can continue to win these games the rest of the way, listen, if they beat Jackson, you got a 3-way tie right now in the East. And that's what Alabama State wants to do. They want to come in and just shake it up a little bit, right? And again, when it gets to that 3-way tie, now you even have stuff like, hey, point differential coming into play. And, so that Jackson winning by 14 is really big for them this past weekend, regardless of if it was the last couple of minutes. That's huge because that's going to come into play. That could possibly come into play if there's a 3-way tie. Now, Jackson is definitely saying we're not going to drop that game anyway. But, hey, Alabama State, in their mindset, they're saying, hey, let's take care of Magic City Classic and keep it moving, all right? So that's going to be a really interesting game this weekend. Number 9, I got Alcorn sitting at 3-1 in the West. Again, just dropped the game to Southern. Has played okay, right, in these conference games. Again, they haven't been super strong. They definitely have a lot of question marks, especially from, offensive side of the ball, but the defense has continued to be solid. Malachi Bailey has definitely woken up in the last couple of games. And so, they're kind of continue to be in the race. Again, Southern got FAM. Southern drops that game, and Alcorn continues to win. They still have a shot to win the West as well, right? Now, Grambling has 2 losses. They kind of taken a bigger step back, and they need a lot more to happen. But Alcorn is still within striking distance, knowing that, one, they don't have to play, FAMU, even though they do have Jackson State at the end of the year. So, this is going to be really interesting to see kind of how things play out over these last couple games, because I think a lot of these teams in the West can end up losing, because you got teams like Alabama A&M, which I have at number 10. And I said at the beginning of the season, and I'm saying it again here now, I think Alabama A&M, one, I'm picking them to win this weekend against Alabama State. I also think Alabama A&M can beat Southern and it can beat Grambling, right? So a team like Alabama and A&M can definitely come and shake up this whole. And so the reality is, right, people are looking at Alabama State, and obviously the quarterback situation is kind of janky now. But really, Alabama A&M and Alabama State is in the same exact position. You're not really realizing that because of what you think about Alabama A&M, but they are in the same exact position. Alabama A&M, what happened to them? They lost to Jackson State, right? Now, that was the end score wasn't really the control of the game that Jackson had, right? Alabama State has lost to FAMU. So the truth is, the team that wins this game puts themselves in a great position to say, listen, Alabama A&M is going to say, if we keep it rolling and we take care of Florida A&M at the end of the year, and possibly if Alabama and Jackson State can lose to maybe Alabama State later on in the season, we're now in a three-way tie, right? And so both of these teams are in great positions in order to be able to say, hey, man, we still are in the thick of the East race, right? So this game is really, really this really is the biggest game of the weekend, right? As far as the SWAC is concerned. So, hey, listen, that's my top 10. Hey, listen, Peasy told me this is a good list. All right, you know what I'm saying? So I got one. All right, I got one that said the list is good. Hey, listen, I don't ain't no bias. All right, ain't no bias. All right, you know what I'm saying? You don't even see PV nowhere here because we definitely don't deserve to be in there. All right, you know what I'm saying? So, but with that being said, man, I'm super excited about this weekend's games. I'm super excited about Florida A&M, Southern, and definitely the Magic City Classic. Listen, that's gonna be one, man. I think Alabama A&M is gonna be able to get on the board. I ain't gonna lie. I can't wait. It's gonna be interesting. You're right. That could be a four-way East tie too, right? Depending on if State is able to beat Jackson State. It really depends on who wins this game, though, because Alabama State will have two losses, though, right? If they lose to Alabama A&M, they're gonna have two losses. So it's gonna be harder for it to be a four-way tie. I don't think, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, a four-way tie is going to be harder because whoever loses this weekend is going to have two losses. And I don't see FAM and Jackson losing two games, you know what I'm saying, with the schedule they got. So we'll see. I mean, listen, unless my boys get right? We got a couple weeks to get right. We can give FAMU another L. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Let Coach Campbell know I said it. All right, but let's keep it moving. Let's get to Title Pie. You know what I'm saying? Then we're going to talk about this weekend and get out of here. So real quick, Title Pie. All right, y'all know Celebration Bowl, Title Pie. Listen, I got my shirt on. I got my shirt on because listen, I still believe, but with these percentages and how the math working, the math ain't working. The math ain't working for me. The math not mathing right now, but I'm still rocking my shirt though. Okay. But I can't give us no percentage right now. I can't give us no percentage. It ain't working for me, right? So percentage-wise, let's start at the top. We're going to go to the bottom, all right? Start at the top, go to the bottom, all right? First and foremost, Jackson State, 30%. Listen, hey, I think the West going to have some chaos. There's going to be some chaos in the West. Like, there's some more losses on the West side of things for sure. Like, that there definitely is. Like, that's going to happen. But we'll see. All right, listen, Jackson State, 30% right now. Listen, they got the job done against FAM. Celebration Bowl wise, right? They got three things they need to do. They need to win the East, right? They need to win the East. Hey, baby. They need to win the East, right? They need to win the SWAC, and then they got to win the Celebration Bowl game, right? They already have put them in a position where they are basically on the edge of taking care of the first thing, which is taking care of the East. Because damn it, FAMU, we already know that was the game to determine who wins the East. Now, at the end of the day, listen, I don't care how many turnovers Jackson had against Grambling. Grambling beat them. So I'm not about to sit up here and say that that's the de facto SWAC championship game. No. That's not how this is going to work, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm a West representative, all right? You know what I'm saying? I'm a West Side representative. You feel me? So I'm not about to sit up here and say that's the de facto SWAC championship game. Man, I mean, Jackson definitely lost to Grambling. Who cares how many turnovers they had? They had the turnovers and they lost, okay? So that can also happen in a SWAC championship game, whether it's against Southern, whether it's against Alcorn, or whoever else is the representative from the SWAC. It can happen again, all right? So they got to win that game too, period, point blank, right? You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, though, they've done what they need to do in order to put themselves in position. They got 30% right now. Number 2, right? In the second place, right, I got tied right now, North Carolina Central, South Carolina State. The reality is, from the MEAC, these two schools have definitely separated themselves from the rest of the pack. It's just what it is, right? October 31st. The MEAC needs to be really ramping up this game next week. October 31st on a Thursday, bro, on ESPN2. Ooh, that's nice. Like that's you talking about de facto SWAC championship game. This is really the de facto MEAC championship game because you ain't got no championship game. All right. This is definitely that for them. They need to be marketing this because that's crazy on October 31st. So that's going to be super interesting, man. That game is going to have some eyeballs there, especially for people who love Black college football. But both of them sitting at 20% because, listen, whoever wins that game essentially is going to win the MEAC, right? Now, after that, listen, I got Graham and Southern sitting at 10%. Now, you might say, why do I have Grambling with a higher percentage than an Alcorn or the Texas Southern? And again, I say, right, we looked at the beginning of the year. Grambling's schedule is simply better than everybody else's schedule in the West. Their schedule is just simply better. Now, they haven't played well, which, to be honest, no team in the West has played well, if we just be frank, right? You know what I'm saying? That's just frank. Southern has not played well either, even though they're 3-0 in the West. Nobody in the West has played well. But Grambling's schedule is still great. Southern plays FAMU. For all intents and purposes, I know everybody posting what happened last year. You still lost, even though using the games in the fourth quarter. Okay, it's still a loss. Okay, it's gonna be hard for them to go and brag and win. So, for listen, if they take a loss to FAMU, well then Grambling, if they can just run the table, which means they beat Southern, they still win out and they still represent the West. If Alcorn drops a game or two later in the season, right? So that Grambling definitely needs help. But Grambling's schedule, I think, is just laid out for them, right? You know what I'm saying? I think I just like Grambling's schedule at the end of the day, right? So I give Grambling the same percentage as Southern at 10%. Now, at 5%, I have Alcorn and Texas Southern. Now, even though Texas Southern, at the end of the day, nobody's looking at them like they're going to get the job done, they still have the potential to get the job done, right? They lost to Jackson, they lost to Southern, right? But again, they still have a lot of stuff in front of them as well. But unfortunately, they got FAM, they got Grambling. I think it's Grambling and FAM, one or the other, right? You know what I'm saying? So they got a tough road ahead, which is why they're about to slide out to the 0% too. But if they could get the job done, they actually still have a chance. Like they still have a lot in front of them too as well, because they have a lot of games against other teams in the West. They still play Alcorn, they still play Grambling as well, right? So Texas Southern still has a lot in front of them too. But probably by next week, I ain't gonna lie, they ain't gonna be there either, right? Because honestly, like injuries have hurt Texas Southern this year, if we're being real, right? KJ Cooper's been out basically since the first game. The linebacker core has been decimated, right? Which was a strength of their defense. So Texas Southern kind of was been put in a tough position, I ain't gonna lie, because they really ain't got the guy that they trusted at the quarterback position there. So it probably would have looked a lot different this year for Texas Southern if KJ Cooper would have still been playing. That's just the reality, right? Because he didn't do anything super, I would say, great in the first game, but he did everything well to get the job done. And you think stacking game after game, of how better he would have got in the game 5, game 6, game 7, it could have looked a lot different for them, right? You know what I'm saying? So, but it is what it is. Football injuries happen, and he ain't there. So Texas Southern 5%. So this is my Celebration Bowl title pie, right? You know what I'm saying? What do y'all guys think about this? What is PV's slice of the pie? Listen, if this was Thanksgiving, we'll be sitting at the kid table right now because ain't no slice for us right now, okay? Like, ain't no slice. Now, I will say this, Mr. Jackson. If PV can get the job done against Mississippi Valley, and then after that, they got FAMU. If they get the job done in both of that, if they get the job done against FAMU at home, they definitely would enter back into the title pie consideration simply off the fact that, listen, the West is going to have some chaos. Both other teams are going to lose. Now, Southern has to lose too many games, though, for PV really to, it's like, it's hard for the math to math for me, right? Because Southern has to lose like 4 games, right? Or Southern has to lose at least 3 games, and then Graham has to probably have 3 losses, or Alcorn 3 losses with Prairie View beating one of both of them, right? for them to now mathematically be back into it, and then you start getting all these tiebreaker scenarios. So Prairie got to go 5-0 the rest of the way in the SWAC, right? Or 4-0, right? 4 games left. You know what I'm saying, in the SWAC West. And listen, that's gonna be difficult. And then they also need a lot of help, right? So again, everything is still wide open. The West is gonna have some shakeups because teams are definitely gonna lose, but are they gonna lose that much? I don't know. I'm not sure, right? So it's we gotta wait to see, right? Say Alcorn owns a tiebreaker with Graham, though. Yep, they definitely do. Jackson State still got to come to Montgomery County, Alabama. That is factual, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna be an interesting game, right? But man, Alabama State just don't got the offense, y'all, right now, and that's kind of the thing that is at the end of the day, man. If you can't score, you can't score, and that's gonna be tough and difficult. Now, at Alabama A&M, I think they're gonna be able to score. They're gonna be able to move the ball on the ground. But I think Alabama A&M is going to be able to score this weekend. I really do. So, you know, I think Alabama A&M is going to win that game. All right. Said nothing is promised. Each game matters. Southern has FAM, Alabama A&M, Bethune-Cookman, UAPB, and Grambling. That's 5 games. Yeah, listen, that's tough. Outside of the Bethune-Cookman game, I think all of those other games are games that could go either way. I think FAMU game, I'm definitely leaning FAMU. And every other game, I think, is a game that's going to be – I'm like, honestly, the last part of the schedule is going to be dope, to be honest, right? Just the last 5 weeks in the SWAC going to be great. Starting this weekend, FAM, Southern, Alabama A&M, Alabama State, that's great games, right? You know what I'm saying? After that, man, you still got Alabama A&M still get Grambling and Southern. I'm interested in both of those games, right? Jackson got Alabama State. I'm definitely interested in that game. Even the last game, depending on where it lands, FAM and Alabama A&M, even if that's not for the East title, just the fact that maybe if Alabama A&M wins and they could finish second, right? Or even third or whatever, right? How things land. I mean, I like the schedules, just how things end, right? But listen, Southern got 3-4 games in there that's toss-ups. They could definitely lose 3 games. Pisa, what Alcorn got left? I know we play Alcorn because Alcorn has only played UAPB, Valley, Graham, and Southern, right? UAPB, Valley, Graham. So they still got Texas Southern left. They still got Jackson left. They still got PV left. And I think they still got Alabama State left, right? I mean, look at there. I mean, those are multiple games they can lose. Those games could go either way too, right? You know what I'm saying? The Alabama State game could definitely go either way because their offense, Alcorn's offense is not, I mean, you just don't trust their offense, right? So that game is up in the air. I mean, PV, we don't know anything about what they're going to be from week in and week out, right? That game is up in the air. Probably leaning Alcorn right now. You got the game against Texas Southern. Texas Southern is a disciplined team. You know what I'm saying? If they can run the ball and sustain runs on the ground, again, they really should have beat Southern. That's the reality, right? They lost, though. They should have won that game. So I like how it looks in the West going down to the wire because I think you got a lot of games where you really can go either way. So I think it's going to be dope. Yeah, Alabama State, Texas Southern, PV, Jackson State. So outside of Jackson, I mean, that's a rivalry game. Anything can always happen, rivalry game, but you probably lean in Jackson. Alabama State, I probably lean Alabama State right now just because Alabama State's defense. But then, I mean, they can beat Texas Southern, beat PV. So, but that could possibly be 2 losses right there, right? So you're talking about Alcorn with 3 losses. So listen, it's going to be interesting in the West. I ain't going to lie. It's going to be interesting coming down to the wire. Everybody watching Southern because Southern controls their own destiny, right? Southern controls their own destiny. What they do against FAM and against Alabama A&M these two weeks is crucial. They can't lose that game to Alabama A&M. If they lose that game to Alabama A&M, it is wide open. All right, it's wide open. So, but with that being said, man, we're gonna get into FAMU versus Alabama on Thanksgiving Friday. Sounds like an upset. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm with you. Hey, listen, I already had a Friday game this year. All right. So I understand about them off day game. All right. Let's talk real quick with just a couple minutes before we get out of here, man, because I know it's Set Your Homecoming Out week. I just want to come to y'all real quick. Talk about the keys to this game for this Texas A&M-Commerce game on tomorrow. First and foremost, listen, these 2 teams are very even. All right. I know people looking at Commerce. I mean, you probably got people looking both ways. People looking at PV like, hey, PV has been horrible this year. You look at Commerce, people looking at Commerce like Commerce has been horrible this year. 1-6, right? In the Southland. They only got 1 win, 1-2. Prairie View 1-3 in the SWAC. But the reality is, when you look at the numbers, these two teams are actually comparable. Like, they are pretty even. So I think this is really going to be a toss-up game. Like, this game really could go either way, and it's really going to depend on a couple things. And this is what I'm going to talk about real quick. Quiz game. Number one, neither one of these teams has established a run game this year. Texas A&M-Commerce averages 85 yards on the ground. Prairie View averages 90 yards on the ground. Neither one of these teams can run the ball. All right. That's just the reality of the situation right now. Neither of the teams can run the ball. Who can establish and win on the ground? That's number one. That's going to determine a lot of things. I think when you look at a couple games that Commerce have played this most recently against Southeastern and against Lamar, definitely last week. Lamar, they gave up over 200 yards on the ground. I think over 250, right, on the ground. Again, at the Southeastern, I think it was around 170. So, they're giving up about 174 yards on average on defense on the ground. Prairie View is giving up 155 on the ground. So who wins on the ground? That's number one, right? Whichever team wins on the ground, you're putting yourself in a better position. It probably means you're moving the ball, you're sustaining drives, first downs. Who wins on the ground? That's number one. Number two, PV offense versus the blitz. All right. You look at Texas A&M-Commerce. First of all, listen, I like some of the scheme I see from Texas A&M-Commerce's defense. You know what I'm saying? I think they're a little bit more. I like kind of how intricate they are, right? And I mean, I wish we could pick up some of that, because what you see a lot from them is they'll walk their two linebackers up, or they'll walk two linebackers up and have one of their DNs stand up, right? And so you got 6 people on the line a lot of times for Commerce. And definitely if they get you in third and long, or they coming with something, right? And then they may drop all the linebackers, right? They may take a step towards you and then drop all the linebackers and try to get in those short passing lanes, right? They may bring two guys straight through them. Most of the time, they're walking right. The two linebackers walk right over the center, right? And so it's going to put you in a position where, listen, if you don't pick up the blitz well, if you don't communicate well, somebody running scot-free. And a lot of times you see them, right, against Southeastern Louisiana, against Lamar, to where that's the case, right? And the thing is they're not scared to commit 7-8 guys to the box and have zero coverage and man up. So this is also going to be really key. PV's offense versus Commerce's blitz. Who wins that battle? Who wins that battle, right? Both teams have given up a good amount of sacks this year. Both teams have given up over 20 sacks on offense. Defensive lines, which one's going to be able to get home? But Commerce brings the blitz a lot more often than PV does. Can they win those one-on-one matchups? Can Jaden Johnson, right, find the right receiver to go to, win those one-on-one matchups, right? Can they call, a screen pass at the right time to get the ball to maybe a Scooter Adams in the open like they did at UI Dub, to get some big yards? Can they win against the blitz? That's going to be the question. If they don't win against the blitz this weekend, it's going to be a long day, right? Because Commerce is going to bring the blitz. That's for sure going to happen. Number 3, giving it away. That's what I say, giving it away. Listen, Commerce loves to give the ball away. Commerce is Thanksgiving before Thanksgiving. All right, that's what I'm trying to say. Like they love to give. Okay, they love to give. It's Thanksgiving for them. So I think 11 interceptions right now on the year, and I want to say about 6 or 7, fumbles, right, lost. So they love to give the ball away, right? And their quarterback definitely puts the ball in harm's way a lot. So you talk about they averaging at least 1 interception per game, right? At least 1 per game. The only 7 games they played, they got 11 interceptions. So that means, hey, listen, you're going to, and he tries to fit the ball in a lot of places. So you're probably going to have a chance to get your hand on a ball or 2. Can you come down with it, right, and take the ball away? The good thing in this category is Jaden Johnson has been way more protective with the ball than we saw earlier on in the season, right? And so he's been very, very particular not to put the ball in harm's way. He did have that one interception at UAPB. That looks like it was definitely a miscommunication between him and Shamar Savage there. But outside of that, man, he doesn't put the ball in harm's way. So he's been doing a very good job of that. And so who wins the turnover battle? That's going to be another really, really interesting one. And can PV create turnovers, right? Because Commerce loves to get a ball away. We've been doing well at protecting the ball over the last couple of games. So if we can keep that momentum going and then be able to take away the ball maybe once or twice, get short fields, that's going to be to our advantage, right? Because neither team has any type of explosiveness from a special team standpoint. So you ain't going to see nothing there. It's going to be, can you turn to a short field over real quick because you're able to create a turnover? Or can you prevent a score because maybe they're moving, getting closer in the red zone and then turn the ball over, right? So that's going to be big. And then number 4, extra yardage, right? Extra yardage. Listen, the penalties, PV leads the FCS in penalties. Number 123rd, all right? 91 penalty yards per game, averaging 9 penalties per game. We've been talking about this forever. Been talking about how undisciplined this team been, all right? Are we going to give extra yardage to this team? Because listen, at the end of the day, if you give up extra yards, if you were supposed to get off the field, but you didn't, because, hey, pass interference, holding, offside, whatever it may be, listen, that's how you lose games, all right? You lose games by being undisciplined. And so has this 2 weeks been able to fix that problem? That's the real question, right? So, Commerce's turnover problem versus PV's penalty problem. Who's gonna be able to lessen, this thing, right? That's gonna be really interesting, right? So, hey man, so it's homecoming though. Listen, the guys got to come out with the dub for homecoming, man. Set your homecoming out 2K24. All right. I appreciate everybody for joining on, man. I hope that you guys have been able to enjoy this short show, midday, right? We did midday because we already know how boys is acting in the RVs right now. You know what I'm saying? So just want to do something short, something quick. You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, we still rocking the shirt. It's Why Not PV. We still got a chance. The West about to get crazy. The West about to get crazy right now, right? You know what I'm saying? So we're taking it one game at a time. One game at a time. It's a tune-up. Just a tune-up before we go to the new Valley Field. All right. So listen, I think they can get the job done, man. I'm still rocking with my guys. I still think they get the job done here. I'm gonna say the score is 27-23. 27-23 PV in this game. Hey, this is a game to help to start building some more momentum, right? And getting things in order. Because listen, in order for you to have any chance, you got to go 4-0. All right. You got to go 4-0. So with that being said, man, we appreciate y'all for joining on. If you have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Show some love. Hey, let me know in the comments what your HBCU top 10 is. Go ahead and drop it in the comments as well. I want to see, if we're aligned, right? Or if we off, right? You know what I'm saying? So go and drop that in the comments and show some love. And again, watch out for the recap show on Sunday with Coach Heish Northam. We're going to wrap it all up. We're going to talk about everything that went down this weekend and especially the games of the week. So until next time, man, we'll holler at y'all.